Check, check, 1, 2. Hello, everyone. Hello, comrades, and welcome to another episode of Under Construction. I'm your host, Ellis, otherwise known as the Admiral. It is Thursday, last I checked, just about 7 o'clock. It's time to start the show for once on time-ish. I mean, we're only 3 minutes late. That's well within the margin of error. And I'm happy to be here. So, let me put the links where they need to go. Just bear with me for a second, and we will be underway. Put that there. Put this here. And I probably need to make a new thumbnail. I was just thinking about this. I should make a new thumbnail now that we have enough of the route built that we can provide like a cool looking backdrop. You know? It might be good to take advantage of that. It might be worthwhile. Probably, don't need to put too much effort into it. Probably need to, we can nix the logos, we can put in something else. We can put in, like, the Trainz logo, right? Because that will be a little explanatory, that'll be helpful. Because I would imagine that if somebody sees this, I mean, it does say Trainz route building, but, people need to be grabbed by the thumbnail, and I'm not going to become a slave to the algorithm by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think about it and go, okay, if I want people to look at this, I need to give them something that explains what it is. Hello, Pat. The shoe's been on the other foot with you lately. I've been watching your streams. Pat has been streaming some route building progress on our Discord server, which you can find in the description, I believe. And if it's not there, there is a link to our website, theironhorseman.com, where you can find a link to our Discord, among other things, including our Steam Locomotive trading cards. Currently working on the Marx Madness batch, for those of you that saw Marx Madness, the 3/4 of an Idiot show, that I was lucky enough to be a part of. Yeah, got those cards well underway. Every day I try to bring another one to the state at which the only thing that needs to be done is, like, editing the photograph, which I don't do. We have most of the photos squared away, a couple of emails out to individuals in the rail fanning community that have taken photos, and a couple that are just sort of on hold while we figure out what we want to do exactly. But most of them are well underway, and I just need to sort of write the blurb for them. Pat says, Saturday, depending on what time I get home from Stillwater, Saturday there will be more building. Cool. I don't think I'm going to be there for that, although I'm not sure. Saturday's an interesting one. I think I might go over to the Model Railroad on Saturday. The Providence Northern Model Railroad Club in Warwick, Rhode Island. Friend of the show. I'm currently the vice president there, so, I get to plug it. No, I might head over there just to sort of spend time with people and poke around and maybe play with trains a little bit. I'm sort of in the intermediate age. For a lot of the older guys, going to the model railroad is sort of like going to a social club. And sometimes people get, annoyed at that. It's because all of our Saturdays are public open days. I'll get out there, run trains for the patrons. Well, these days we've got a whole bunch of junior members, which is nice. And they tend to run trains, which leaves the old guys to just sort of hang out. Again, I'm sort of in the middle. I can be considered. I'm an old guy compared to the younger members, and I'm a young guy compared to the older members. So I'm in the middle. That's the way it is. We seem to be having a pretty good start here, which is nice. Although I forgot to grab water, and I could also use something to eat. I got started. Gloria turned me on to what I thought was just like a fitness app, but it's actually specifically a intermittent fasting app, which honestly I'm not opposed to. Uh, Ever since I heard about, I think it was Bernie Burns on the Rooster Teeth podcast talk about intermittent fasting, I was like, shoot, if I'm gonna diet, like that's the one for me. I'm not good at making food decisions, but if it's the decision between eat and don't eat, I can make that. Like that's a choice I can make. That's one I don't have to think about too much. I can just decide not to have, not to eat right now and to wait a couple hours. Um, and see, that's something I have done in the past, and like all day goes by. Uh, I live inside me I have two wolves. One is you are always starving all the time, eat something and don't stop. And the other one is, you know what, I'll eat later. Uh, that's what it's always been like for me. That's what it was like through college. I talk about how bad my eating habits were in college, and it's amazing that that's almost 10 years in the rearview mirror now. But even still, I remember it like it was yesterday, going down to the store and spending my like space bucks or whatever, college currency on just like junk food, you know, Chips Ahoy, Cheez-Its, donuts, just like whatever junk I could get my hands on, and taking it all back to the dorm and just pigging out. Um, and the dorm food, the dining hall food there, I really can't complain about. Some of it was really quite good, and I miss it. Some of it was less quite good, but acceptable. Um, and oh, I missed it. Oh no. Oh well, you know what? Whatever. That's gonna work anyway. Um, and even still, I would just pig out on junk. It was my life. But that would alternate between the other end of the spectrum being just like I have not eaten today and it is 11 o'clock at night, um, which is a very college thing to have happen, and it's fine when you're in college to do that as long as it's not like making you delirious and you can't function in class and stuff. Uh, but as an adult, don't do that. Your body can't handle it the same way that it used to. See, that's one of the things. As you age, you get older. Uh, as time goes by, you turn into an old man. And now I have responsibilities, and I can't, spend hours and hours a week building routes in Trainz. Some folks are going to be joining this and being like, "What the hell is he doing? He's playing not Tetris." Or what is he doing? He's playing Tetris, and I'm going to say, "No, it's not Tetris," and that will not answer anyone's questions. But still, this is what we're doing. I'm doing pretty well. This is just letting people filter in. So if you show up and you're like, "What the hell is this?" Don't leave yet. We'll get to the actual Trainz route building pretty soon. Um, well, depending on how well this goes. Sometimes it's very soon. Sometimes it's actually not that soon. Depends on the day. Depends on how my not Tetris skills are doing on a given day. Uh, I am a defeated man, says Dean. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. And I mean, I usually. Oh shoot! Oh shoot! Oh shoot! Oh shoot! I got distracted, and now we're totally screwed. We're totally screwed. No, no, give me like one. Give me one. No. All right. Well, you know what? We did decent. We did a lot better than last time. Um, Last few times have been absolutely cooked. Uh, Dean, I assume you're having car troubles. It's a very familiar refrain. I get it. Um, Good evening, Mopac. You've returned from the propane convention. What an interesting thing to say. Gloria asks if you are Hank Hill. Uh, Propane and propane accessories. Let me send this stream thing in the thing. Um, And last time we did some driving around, right? And that was fun. I laid out some stuff, and we're on like version like 3.35 or whatever. You know, we're way down the list. Um, the problem is that I still have not quite decided what to do with the trolleys in terms of automation, so I don't want to just leave it. Well, the thing is, I could leave most of it in place. I could just turn them off. Um, I also noticed that some of the locomotives are sort of automatically uh, on AI, and they just go and do stuff. They go and decide to do stuff. I don't know how that's working, um, but it's working. So it was some stuff was happening. Now I don't know how that interacts with interlocking towers. Um, I might have to change how the interlocking towers are set because it sort of goes against the philosophy that I had of, you know, never let the AI make their own decisions, which would mean that they basically cannot use the main line because the interlocking tower is there. Um, so this was if I remember right. This is one piece. Yeah, the one piece is real. Um, Gloria told me to shut up. Gloria's being mean to me. Uh, uh, let me truncate this because that it doesn't make any sense that it would look. Why is it chequad like this? It doesn't make any sense that we have that tiny little road stub there. Um, this is what it is. Using the yeah sounds like a very Lackawanna thing to do, or like there's that old story about the person who used to terrorize the Cumbres and Toltec by like pulling up with his speeder and then saying, "Oh, you know, are there any trains out there?" Uh, this was, I mean, not the Cumbres and Toltec as we know it, like the 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 Rio Grande. Uh, are there any trains out there? And you know, and then he would just sort of drive off, you know, and people would panic. Um, let's see. I probably need to do this block. I need to work on this area. I don't really know what's going to go here. Probably a bunch of trees. Um, probably houses along this stretch, and then trees, and then the railroad track is what it's going to be. Um, and then this side, I'm honestly not sure. I probably trees, but possibly not. Um, we can texture the river all the way down to here, which would make sense. Um, and this is going towards like the Atlantic City analog. Um, they blew up the Chicken Man in Philly last night. Yeah, go on a heist stream and ask about that. I'm sure that story's been told 100 times. I know Weibold has told it to me at least, you know, 2 or 3 times. And it's not like I stop him because it's always in context and it's funny. Um, you know, there are always those stories that get passed around the friend group fairly often, or at least often enough that you remember the last time it was brought up, and you just sort of let happen because they're good enough that it doesn't matter that you've heard it before. Um, I am a serial like a repeat storyteller, especially when something has happened to me. I sort of have to go around and tell everyone, and sometimes that involves me telling the same story to different people like 3 times in the same day. It's not very healthy, I would imagine. But I'm sure it like really cooks that memory into my brain. Somebody should, you know, the people who are stuck with me, like Gloria, um, should like take note of when I do that and like how the story changes each time. Do I find a better way to tell it? All right, here we go. And it always reminds me of, I think it was on that '70s show. Reminds me of like there was a cautionary tale to Eric and Donna, who are like the main couple in that '70s show. If you've never seen it, um, of a couple that had uh, gotten together in high school and then got married, and they're high school sweethearts. They got married and grew old together. Sort of like the picturesque kind of relationship that you hear about. But it was painted as like, not terrible, but not enjoyable, because they had already heard all of the stories that they're. Hey, look, it's Albert. This is just called Albert. Hi, Albert. Um, if I start using this, I I need to tag it Albert. Oh, it is named Albert. Uh, Wait a minute. Does that mean if I put it down, it comes up? No. Damn. How do I get it to show up? Albert. Save changes. So like Aeola's bread shows up, and is this a building or an industry? This is just a building. I guess because its name is Albert automatically. What if I Albert 2? No. I don't know how to get that to show up. Hi, my love. Map options. Named objects. Ah, Albert. Okay, yeah. So wait, what is that other thing considered? I learn something new every day. Oh, that's... I imagine industry names, but it's not really an industry. I mean, Albert is not a very good-looking building. The fact that it's called Albert is not really an excuse for me to use it. Also, holy cow, did you see the... Oh, this is cool. Apothecary. I should put this somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere. Probably over here by the main road. Actually, it would fit in really nicely right there. Ooh, and the center point is way off to the right. That's something to look out for. We'll have to put in some extra sidewalk here, too. But that's okay. That's an easy one. I need to figure out what to put over here, and I'm honestly not sure what is the right course of action, because it's a little too far away for the row houses or anything like that. And I mean, we have some row houses here. You know what? We can do some row houses over here. In fact, maybe I'll grab... Maybe I'll grab row houses from over there and put them here. Because why not? They're not just going to show up in one piece of... in one area, right? Let's go to Surveyor 2.0 so we can grab stuff. I hope everyone is having a good Thursday and a good week. It has been an interesting week for me. Sadly, I had to cancel a future trip to Foamer Mecca, that is the WWNF, because I have work stuff to do on that weekend. But I will still be there for the work weekend, or at least I should be. Okay, control, click, and drag to grab just the block of houses, and then let's go find where these are going. I should, like, follow the streets. I should learn to follow the streets. I don't know why I thought this would be enough. Like, I really don't know why I thought this would be enough. I need to grab a much larger block of houses. Because I'm considering doing this whole stretch, or at least most of it. Work is less important than a holy pilgrimage. I mean, for the most part, on the weekend, I would agree with you. I am not someone who likes to work on the weekend. Hi, my love. You pick out a yacht club for me. Our sponsor. We're not sponsored. Is it the lemon one? Mm-hmm. Block plate. Oh wait, hold on. Big camera. There you go. Lemon. In my face.
Showing it off.
I really hate opening these things by hand. I mean, twist-offs are better than regular ones, but still.
And it's filled to the brim.
Mm-hmm. Cheers, everyone. It's very lemony. It's good. Could you also find my water if you have a sec? I'm just not sure where I put it. And I gotta be drinking water. That's the one thing I'll use the fitness app for is tracking my water consumption. Yeah, working on the weekend sucks. Just like top to bottom sucks. And I say that as someone who almost never does it as well. I mean, I used to, thank you. I used to get in a rhythm with my boss at the time. I no longer work under him. I still work for the same company, but he doesn't work here anymore. So don't like this didn't contribute to my leaving the company or anything like that. Um, we worked together in a very small office together, and uh, like one room office kind of deal. Like we were practically back to back. Um, and he's a guy who liked to tell stories, so not a lot of work got done. But uh, well, maybe that explains why he was always working on the weekend. Friday evening, Friday afternoon, he would turn to me and say, "Hey, Alice, you want to work this weekend?" And I would say no, and I would leave. But in this case, I do want to do what I have to do on Saturday, May 3rd, because it is something that I have worked on quite extensively, and it's field work, which I really enjoy. Um, it's field work with my like direct supervisor, who I never get to see because he's up in Boston and I'm down here in Providence, and it has to do with detours that I designed. So I've got a stake in this. I really want to know if this works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these here. I'm going to put an alley behind them. Working both Saturday and Sunday just blows. I mean, most people get 2 days off a week. I mean, a lot of people get 1 day off a week. But for a lot of people, that's Saturday and Sunday. And when you are the person whose schedule does not line up with everyone else's because you work Saturday, Sunday, and, not, and everyone else has that off, and, you have off like Monday, Tuesday or something, that, it really puts a damper on your social life. It's not fun. I mean, it's not fun for everyone. It's not fun for the people that are trying to schedule around you either. But that's like small potatoes compared to how much it sucks to be in that position actually yourself. Woe is me. I've got a friend who works the weekend. Poor me. Uh, we do love field work though. I love field work as a traffic engineer because I get to go out and look at the cars go by, and sometimes those trains. There's a project that's coming up that involves the Hartford line that I'm really hoping that I get put on, because I want to do more with train. Like I'm an engineer because of the trains. I wanted to be a choo-choo train engineer, and my mom was like, maybe do the other kind of engineering. Uh, and then quietly whispering, "That's where the money is. Don't go. Obviously, what my mom did not say was, "Don't go work for Union Pacific," but that kind of thing was on her mind. Uh, and honestly, I think I dodged a bullet there. I came out pretty well. I don't know what my life would be like if I hadn't gone to RPI and become a civvy and everything like that. Uh, honestly, I'd be living in a different world. Um, I always talk about, and this is going to get like a little philosophical really quick, so bear with me. Um, People talk about their regrets, right? And it's easy to have regrets if you don't like where you're at in life. But if you do like where you're at in life, be careful about having regrets, because if you were to go back, not that people have the opportunity, but in the event that something in your past changes that you regret, you might not end up where you are right now. I, you know, I went through a reasonable amount of hell in my life, and now I have Gloria, and I'm really happy with that. So, like, if I had not gone through that, I might not be here. I happen to be in the right place, right time to buy this house. And, you know, unlike lots of folks, including myself, really, who really should have taken a day out of middle school to go buy a house in 2008. Um, I love you too. Are you leaving?
One of my birds on the porch.
Oh, so you are leaving?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna miss you. Um, long time no see. How is life? I'm talking about life. My life is pretty good, all things considered. Uh, but yeah, regrets, right? It's easy to have regrets if you're not happy with where you are in life. Uh, I don't really consider that I have many regrets these days because I am quite happy. There are a couple of regrets. One of them came up in conversation yesterday. Gloria and I were going over the wedding registry, working on our wedding site, which there's going to be a link to that on the Iron Horseman site too. So even if that's where the live stream is going to be, although it's probably just going to be on regular YouTube too. But that's where there's going to be ways to sort of interact with that. Um, that's going to be the most foolproof place to find the live stream, I would imagine. That's October 19th. And I need to go back to Surveyor Classic. And I said, you know what is one of my biggest regrets? And again, not a very large regret because I don't really have many. When's the wedding? October 15th. Sorry, October 19th. 19th. It's a Sunday. Don't come crash it. We don't have room for everyone anyway. But, everyone is absolutely welcome to dial in. So. One of my regrets is I was at an estate sale with an electric edger. Don't take that the wrong way. I mean for lawns. It's basically a weed whacker with a big blade on the end of it instead of a spinny thing. A spinny like twist tie. Stream it on Twitch. Have the super chat repeated by the officiant. I'm gonna stream it here. And no, see, I'm not allowed to have that kind of chaos. Having Lafayette walk the rings to us by himself is already kind of becoming a contentious issue, because my mom is like, I don't know if it's going to work the way you want it to. He's going to sprint down the aisle. And I personally think the opposite is going to happen, where he's going to just sort of go for a wander through the meeting hall and not come right to us. Which, honestly, it's kind of a coin flip. But I think for a day that's going to be so well planned, I think having a possibility of some entertainment like that is totally valid to me. But anywho, there was an edger, and yeah, he's gonna like visit every single person in the building on his way up, and I regret not taking it home. Because it was it was an electric one. It was a plug into the wall style, lawn care machine. And I have one, but it's a gas powered one. Nothing else I own is gas powered as far as lawn equipment goes. I've got a plug-in lawnmower. I've got a plug-in weed whacker. I have a plug-in hedge trimmer and a plug-in chainsaw. Which has got a brand new chain in it, by the way, which has been nice because before it was barely working. It's a dull chainsaw, and the only thing I have that's gas powered is that edger, and I don't use it because I don't keep like a gas can anymore because I don't have anything else like that I regularly use that needs it. I did, yeah. Well, the mower. The mower has a little stubby cable that you plug an extension cord into. So you can't run over the mower's cable but you can absolutely run over the extension cord, and I have done that uh, more than once. So, you know, buyer beware if you're going to get an electric lawnmower, which, if you have a small lawn, I think is a good investment. Um, I mean, they have battery operated ones, but the batteries cost an arm and a leg. Um, I know it's not like you have to replace it. You know, it's not like a big bundle of double A's, but still, it. You know, you buy the lawnmower for like normal lawnmower prices, and then you buy the battery for an extra $200. Um, it's been a while since I looked at those prices. Don't quote me, but that was the impression. That's what it felt like. Okay, that's what it felt like when I was replacing my old lawnmower. Um, and yeah, no, yeah, okay. Mopac, I'm glad you can back me up on this. Uh, this is a nice little house. Um, anywho, uh, how was I saying? Yeah. So it's like I can't complain. It's kind of worth it. Like I can't complain about my lawnmower. I like my lawnmower a lot. Um, 18 volt. Well, listen, I think the flashlight is gonna draw a little less power than the lawnmower. Um, just saying, you might need a bigger battery for the lawnmower. Um, but either that or that's the most the most amazing flashlight in the world. Uh, but yeah, buyer beware because you can run over the damn cord. I again think it's a good purchase if you have a small lawn. If you're not someone who uh, if you're not someone who needs a gas powered lawnmower, it's a lot less maintenance. It's a lot less headache. It's quieter, you know, and it's better for the environment as well because two stroke gas engines are just terrible. Uh, what is this? Oh, it's a freight house. Uh, anywho, I know, but it's meh. It's not all that handy and it's old. Yeah, I mean, where do you even get an 18-volt flashlight these days? Um, I never thought I would get to the age where I would be discussing lawnmowers. Well, you survived. Oh wow, quarter of an acre on one battery. That sounds pretty good. I have a pretty small yard, so I have like a 50-foot extension cord, and I can do the whole backyard and front yard without getting a second extension cord. So that's a benefit. Um, Ryobi makes it. It just seems like 18 volts is a weird amount of volts, you know. Uh, my old lawnmower is currently buried in leaves next to the garage because it is a relatively unique design. I don't know if they make them anymore. Black and Decker flip handle electric mower. I want to see if they still make these. Um, okay, it looks like they do. Because I really liked my old one. No, accept all cookies. Oh no, never mind. That's not the flip handle type of mower. You know, if I wanted to get another one, I could find it on Facebook Marketplace. I should really just throw this one out. Um, but it's a Black and Decker flip handle lawnmower. It is pretty small for a lawnmower. It doesn't have a bag, which is fine because I don't use the bag anyway. I use it for the front yard sometimes, but not the backyard. Um, and shoot, and the nice thing about it, as indicated by the name, is it is a flip handle lawnmower. So you get to one end of the yard, and instead of turning it around, you pull a lever and you can flip the handle over to the other side. It's basically a symmetrical lawnmower because it doesn't have a bag. Um, so it's a neat little gimmick. It's not really like It's not earth-shaking in terms of utility. It's cool, uh, but it's kind of goofy. And the one that was here had been here for a while. Um, Eventually, it just broke, stopped working. It would just trip the breaker every time I turned it on. So I stopped using it. And um, I stopped using it, and I wanted to replace it with something identical, but I didn't find anything identical like immediately. And I was, when you shave and like your razor, you run out of razor, in whatever manner halfway through your shave, and now you look like you've got a half beard. Um, or if you were going from the outside, you'd look much worse. But you get my point. My lawn was that way. So I just had to get in the car, go to Lowe's, and buy a lawnmower, and take it home and finish mowing the lawn. Uh, no, I mean any of the above. It gets dull. It runs out of battery. If you have a battery operated one, it breaks. Any of the above. Um, I've only really ever used electric razors, so I don't have a lot of experience with my razor getting dull on me. Um, but just any of the above, where you run out of the ability to shave your face halfway through shaving your face, and then you end up looking like Charlie Chaplin. Um, so, you know, that sort of vibe, but with a lawn. Um, why are we talking about mowers? Honestly, I don't remember how we got here. I was talking about probably corded versus battery stuff. No, I was talking about the lawnmower. Honestly, I have no idea. Got no clue. How do we get here? Don't really care. Oh, the regrets. Oh, the regrets. I didn't buy the electric corded lawn edging tool, and it's one of my only regrets. I wish I had. Um, it's one of the things that I wish I had taken home from the estate sale. Instead, I got a rocking chair, which it's a nice rocking chair. I can't complain about the rocking chair, but it's not, you can get a rocking chair anywhere for like, $35 or however much I spent on it. It's not a lot of money. I can go to another estate sale. I can go to Facebook Marketplace, get a rocking chair. And the rocking chair doesn't get used for a good portion of the year. One, because it's kind of tough to sit in because it's a rocking chair. And B, because it's in the way of the Christmas tree. And when it's Christmas time, the it just sort of gets shoved in the corner, and the Christmas tree sits in front of it. So it's not the most useful chair in the world. It is more comfortable than a lot of other chairs, but because I can't sit on it and also like eat or use my laptop, it's kind of a tough sell to make use of. Um, I use an electric razor because I am so lazy. I shave my face like once in a blue moon. You guys know that. Um, and also, I should have got my hair cut like over a month ago, but I was sick and I've been so busy I haven't even been able to make an appointment. I made an appointment. I had to call to cancel it because there was a meeting that was in the way of it, and they didn't answer the phone. So I feel really bad that I sort of no call no showed on them, even though I tried to call them, and I haven't talked to them since. Not out of embarrassment, uh, but would you blame me? No, I've just been so busy. Every day goes by, and I get to like 6 o'clock, and I go, ah, shoot, should have got my hair cut. I should have at least called and made an appointment. Um, yeah, no, and because I just shave every once in a while when I'm getting real tired of it, and then I let it grow back. It's not like I'm really fighting stubble. Like my face is smooth or smooth as it gets for a couple of days, and then it's over anyway. Um, what am I? Oh, I'm getting Uber notifications from Gloria. Um, and my fitness app or my intermittent fasting app. which I'm sort of slow rolling the intermittent fasting. I did um um what did I do? I did like 11 p.m. or midnight to 1 p.m. So like over 12 hours, but it's not like I know some people who do intermittent fasting. It's like you can only eat for 4 hours out of the day. And again, if I'm going to commit to some sort of weight loss plan, because you got to fight it on both sides. Really, you got to be more active, and also you have to, uh, yeah. So midnight to 1, I don't eat. Um, that's the plan anyway, and that's kind of what I do right now. Period. So obviously it's not working. Um, uh, but like, yeah, the people I know who do intermittent fasting, they leave you only a few hours to eat. Um, because you can only eat so much in that span of time. You sort of you just run out of space in your stomach, and you go, "Oh, I'm full. All right, that's it. Like I'm good. I'm satisfied." And maybe that's the way to do it. Uh, 2 meals a day and exercise Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah, and that's solid. I eat 2 meals a day and I don't exercise. Uh, so clearly I've got to fight this on the other end, and I've got to get myself more active, and I've got to get up and get out there, and have my like 30 to 60 minutes of activity each day. For a while, I was trying to do like, oh, every time I get up from my computer, I do 10 jumping jacks, because jumping jacks are probably my favorite exercise. Random thought. If anyone else has got a favorite exercise, feel free to pipe up. Um, but uh, I'm terrible with portion control. I always pig out. Um, and I've been trying to do better with that. I've been trying to err on the side of. I've been trying to err on the side of. You know what? Just get get something that you know you're gonna eat, and then that's good. Like don't go above that. And me, on the other hand, like something that I've sort of not had drilled into me, but something that I've always had as a philosophy is get enough for leftovers. You don't have you won't have to cook tomorrow, or you won't have to you won't have to order something else tomorrow. You'll just go, or even just for like lunch the next day, go into the fridge, take out what's there, and eat it. Um, and that's a great philosophy, but then you end up buying like more than you can eat in one sitting, and you have the food in front of you. And it's like, oh, I could keep eating though. I could keep eating though. I could continue to chow down, even though I am very much full. Uh, the food is right here in front of me, and it smells so good and it tastes so good. So like, not the best way to go about it. Sit ups and push ups are good. I don't mind doing push ups. I can do maybe 10 of them at once. Uh, and I sometimes will. I when I was exercising, I would supplement with push ups. Something else that's always fun is to do like like Just Dance or something. That's always a blast. I've got Just Dance, I think, for my Xbox. It's got a Connect on it, so I can do that without like waving my phone around or whatever. But it has been so long since I've even thought about touching that. I don't even know if it was on my account or if it was on somebody else's. Uh, yeah, I mean, you got to fight it on both sides. If you want to lose weight, you got to fight it on both sides. You got to get out there, and you got to manage your portions, manage your caloric intake, and that's really the thing is caloric intake, and you have to make sure that you're burning calories too. Um, you can't just go and exercise and not and eat and still eat like garbage and expect things to get better, because they won't. Come on, go face the other way. Thank you. You gotta exercise and you gotta eat right. And eating right is not really an enigma. I mean, people gamify it. People cut out this or that, carbs or fats or sugars or what have you. Uh, it doesn't have to be that complicated. And I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. You know, don't you know? Don't necessarily take my word for it. And you can't just decide not to eat for 2 weeks and lose weight and be fine. I mean, you'll probably live, but it won't be pleasant for you or anyone around you, because you're going to be super ornery because you're hangry. But, you know, even if that is your plan, right? Oh, I'm just gonna not eat next week. Uh, Listening to the logistics of eating while currently eating dinner. This is truly the full immersive experience of the future. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I can provide this great service while building a Trainz route. Um, and I still don't know what the hell to put here. I said I was going to put a strip mall on this side. And so here's our strip mall. And I'm not sure if it's going to be spaced like this or something else. I also need to get rid of my virtual, physical pick list over here, because look at all this junk I left lying around. Um, but like, losing weight is a simple equation, is what I'm trying to get to. Calories in versus calorie. Oh, I got a substation over here. Well, I got a power station over here. I feel like a substation across the 20 feet down the road is a little overkill. But I do need to make more substations. Trying to pay attention to electrical infrastructure is something I'm trying to do. Anywho, I would be surprised. You're right. This You are the electrical engineer here. I do not know what I'm talking about. I'm also not a nutritionist, once again. But calories in minus calories out equals calories stored. That's all there is to it. At a very basic level, you got to keep up on your vitamins and minerals and nutrition and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if you want to lose weight, you gotta satisfy that equation. You got to make sure that you're taking in less calories than you're burning, fewer calories than you're burning. Um, a lot of plants have a small distribution station like you see, and then a few blocks away there'd be also a larger switching substation. Interesting. It's only distribute. Okay, yeah, no, interesting. Yeah, I guess I need more space for that sort of thing. Um, in that case, that might be something to put over here. Maybe like over here. Um, would you have a set of high voltage lines that's specifically going to that? I mean, I know high voltage lines don't like, I'm not going to peel off a branch here. Um, but I could just sort of fudge it and just build a substation, you know, um, and not necessarily directly tie it in here, just to sort of take up space, build a substation. Or maybe I even have one that I can just plop down. Uh, it doesn't have to be perfect. But this is also like a substation kit, you know? And this is the one that I put down over there, because it uses the same cables. And then this is some other piece. Yeah. You're gonna hate me when I just like throw down a bunch of random substation pieces and go, yeah, that's right. Um, How to transmit? Oh yeah, that makes sense. So it drops down to the ground. You have a substation, then it goes back up into the overhead. Um, that does make sense. I kind of want to put it over here, and the wires are over here, though. That's not great. strip mall. I uh, Mossy, I would imagine that you enjoy any Austins. You can tee it off and go across the rails. How do I do that? I mean, because I, I get that I can, can I just like, I can't do that because that's not gonna work. That's hmm. Uh, but what would see? I would want to make a T look right, and it's never gonna look right with what I have here unless I draw the wires out myself. What I could do though is I could put a substation here, and instead of having this like this, okay, yeah, you can DM me. I could do this. I wonder if that's high enough. And then I can just have the substation over here on this corner. Or I could put it somewhere else. I mean, I'm kind of obsessing over putting it here. But that does not have to happen. In fact, I should probably put it down here. I should probably put it down in this corner over here. Because I'm really not sure what needs to go over there. So let's reconnect that. Hmm. I'm gonna take another drink of my lemon. This looks pretty good though. This little block that we've built here, I like this a lot. And then this here again, probably trees on this side. Although tempted to do just maybe like plain, but I kind of want to hide this ugliness. So maybe trees is the way to go. I'm not gonna hide it on this side. Okay. Look at the crossovers again. So there's a way to get over and into this here, which lets you run them around the back of the yard here, which this is our grain yard, and then this is our regular classification yard. This is the coach yard. This is the layover yard. Again, I might end up putting, some things over here. Okay, sent, hopefully that... I do want to see this. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. When you said tee it off, I did not know what you meant. But yeah, that does make sense. If it's going to go across, and then it's going to go down, and then it's going to go across again, and then it's go down, and then it's going to go across again. No, I think I'll do it down here. I think I'm just going to throw down a substation object. Oh, what is this? Oh, it's even got... Okay, it's some more switches and transformers and things. It's even got like a pad to sit on. So I'm just going to place this here as a reminder to myself to build a substation over here later. Also, it makes sense that maybe they would have built a new substation over here when they put up all the new grain elevators. They cleared this whole area out and did industry on it. Speaking of which, there are some more industry things that I need to figure out, but that's a later problem, I think. Something I do need to do is this. Don't look on the left there. You didn't see anything. And then I need to grab the height. Nice. Clear this out so that I have enough room for that, and then we will build the bridge. We'll redo the bridge so that it's, you know, correct later. Oh man, we are so tantalizingly close to finishing this corner, and that's gonna make me so happy. The other thing that we need to do, like this area is an area that we are relatively close to finishing. Or put down wherever they can get land. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Um, and you know what? I can figure out some of this just by marking off where the edge of the graveyard is going to be, which is like right here. So let's do something we haven't done in a little bit, which is to grab, no, not the shrub spline, the grass spline. Use this to mark out the edge of the graveyard. And you know what? We'll go all the way to the edge of this here, to the edge of where the forest is right now. Use this to mark out the edge of the graveyard, and then we can fill in the rest of this area here with trees, pretty shamelessly. And that fills in a big chunk of land over here. And then we'll go back to where we were and do that. We've spent the last couple episodes primarily dicking around with the programming and things, and I do probably need to spend a whole episode on the dilemma of what to do with the trolleys and to finish gutting everything. To finish gutting all the AI as much as we can, figure out if and how the new AI works with interlocking towers. And once there is no functional AI, once everyone's super, no one will be. Now, once there is no functional AI, you know what? I'm realizing this doesn't need to be here. I think because this is the edge of. I just need to redo this so that the shrubs are in the middle. Once there's no functioning AI, we can go through and start our revitalization program and relabel all the interlocking towers and switch stands and signals in line with the new standards. We also need to come up with some new standards so that everything will sort of be future-proofed and functional, and we will hopefully never have to touch it again. We're getting far enough into the route now that we have probably a few thousand switch stands that I'm not looking forward to renaming, because I've come up with finally a way to do that. A lot of the ones towards our end of the railroad either have not been labeled yet or are labeled properly in accordance with the standards that we came up with a while back, but the ones at the other end, maybe not so much. I've also been a little bit lax on switch stands in particular. I've been lax on signals, partially because those things you just sort of plop down and they work or they don't work, in the case of signals for me. And some of the stuff has sort of been grandfathered in with these interlocking towers. I don't want to have to change all that, but we're going to have to do it, so we might as well just do it. Also, we have sidewalk out to here, which means we probably need to pull these shrubs back to like here and leave enough space in front of the road or by the road for a good portion of this for some houses that are a little bit further afield. Okay. It has been so long since I've gotten to do this. Since I've gotten to use my tree stamp. Which I hope is still there, considering I lost all my settings. But it should be. I'm being a little bit sloppy because this is getting pretty far from the track. This area is not really going to get a lot of attention I would imagine, unless you really decide to wander around town in human person mode. You know, we should probably fix that. We should get rid of the giant blue push pin. Part of me is like, yes, I should fix that right now. You know, the thing that I was always told growing up is if it takes less than 5 minutes, do it right now. And I don't expect that to take less than 5 minutes, but it's not going to take very long. On the other hand, part of me really wants it to be the very last thing we do in this town. Which is saying a lot because we still have like all the industries to figure out. We have so much to do. Like especially with all the AI stuff, especially with sort of the new paradigm with Living Railroad, having to redo all the switch stands and signals and the car spawners and staging, everything like that. I don't know, or I don't know how to feel. I feel overwhelmed. It's a feeling that I haven't had in a while on this railroad, because we've been so good at sort of keeping everything bite size, relatively. You know, when I set out to build this section, when we were over here, when the furthest tile was where this farm is now, and I looked out to the horizon and I said, yeah, we're going to build 30 miles that way, or 15 miles, or whatever it is. It's 15 miles, I think. Yeah, we're going to build 15 miles in that direction. It didn't feel overwhelming because I knew most of it was going to be simple and I hadn't totally comprehended the enormity of what I was set on doing. And now we're all the way over here, and I'm still chipping away at the town part, which honestly is the easy part. But I didn't expect to be beset by a total paradigm shift in the way that AI works, to the point where it almost demands I go back and redo everything on Rails. And this isn't me grousing. I want to make that clear. This is not me complaining about Living Railroad. There are plenty of things I could complain about Living Railroad, mostly because it's very unfinished. But that's not the point. That's not what I'm here to do. Oh shoot, wrong thing. No, I am really excited about Living Railroad. I really am looking forward to that system coming into its own, if it isn't clear already. Um, Meshes overwrite splines, none. Effect layers, none. I think it's fantastic. I think it's doing something that basically no one has really tried to do, as far as I understand, and it's adding something to Trainz that, by consequence, no one else really has. It's something that is very welcome in Trainz, because not only is it a relatively unique feature, it is something that really supports the way the game is used, at least to me. Trainz is much less, in my opinion, compared to plenty of other train simulators, and what their intended purpose was, less a piece of software about sessions, less a simulator about sessions, and more a simulator about systems and worlds and interacting industries. It's not. It's less about driving the trains as it is about the interconnectedness of a rail network. And it's sort of like, to use a comparison that I think is rather apt but is strange because of the timeline. It's the railroader of train sims. It isn't about driving the thing. Uh, and sure, driving the thing can be fun, but it's it's you know barely a step above railroad or barely a step above rolling line. Uh, I don't drive trains in cab mode in Trainz. You can, but if you want the cab driver experience, go play, uh, go boot up Run 8. You know, Run 8 is the gold standard. As ludicrously expensive as that game is, if you want the DLC and the routes, etc., etc. Uh, as janky as it is at times, it is what it sets out to be. It is a simulated world. Uh, and Trainz is doing that, but the editing is much more accessible. And the simulation is less on the train side. Okay. So some folks in the Discord have been making some serious strides when it comes to uh, the scale of terrain. And honestly, personally, I'm jealous. I That's something that I aspire to. Um, it is hard to comprehend and then subsequently build the scale of terrain features that exist in real life, the subtlety of most topography. It's the places that aren't subtle that stick out in our minds as people because we go, "Wow, look at that! That's incredible." It's where you notice it, but it's the stuff that you don't notice necessarily that's important. This is about as subtle as it gets for me, and it's not very subtle. It's not very subtle. It rises. Hello, Evan. Um, it rises right up from the field into the hills, like 100 feet or however tall. It's not good. I mean, it's good, but it's not what I'm aiming for. And stuff like this is even less good. This is a cute little town, but it's very model railroad sized, and it's very stuck in the middle of hills in a way that is unrealistic. Um, this town should be like 4 or 5 times the size of this, even for a little baby town like this. And beyond that, it needs more space to grow. Part of it is it's difficult to build on a slope, just in general, but in Trainz is what I'm saying. Um, and like yeah, some of these like this is much better than some of my early work, right? People who remember the Tamriel's Vale and Anaconda remember what my mountains looked like then, and it's not pretty, not compared to this. Uh, and the trees are helping me out here quite a bit, but this was it's all hand sculpted, right? Um, I wish I could pull up a topo map. And that helps a little bit because you spend time on stuff, but it's easy to get way overzealous. Way overzealous. And I definitely did. That's why the Vulgar Mountains is like a 1.5 ruling grade all the way up. If we turn on map options, gradients, it's not as bad as maybe I remember it. Oh, there's a 2% right there. That's not fun. Um, I tried to keep it at 1.5, but that's not necessarily always the case. There's a 1, there's 2, 1, 2, 2 through here. I guess it was 2 that I kept it to. And then it evens out a little bit, and there's 1.5. Then it evens out a little bit, and it's pretty flat through this section. And then it's 1% around the Bristol curve here. It's 2% over the cutoff. And then it runs through the mountain here, which is sort of the high point. In the olden days, it would go this way, and it would keep going uphill. But it actually comes downhill and crosses the bridge, and then it's going to go uphill again at 1.5%. So, you know, kind of all over the place. Not a great gradient. Not subtle. Not subtle. It's as subtle as I've ever made, but it's not subtle. Terrain features are much bigger than this. And I'm not talking about in terms of elevation change. I'm talking about in terms of, slopes being very broad. Slopes being very gentle. Small enough that you don't really notice it, unless you really step back and look. And when we start building in this direction, it's another chance for me to try that. It's probably going to involve a lot more terrain tracks and a lot more careful adjustment than stuff that we've done lately. Hopefully it turns out good. Anywho, this is much closer to being done than it was a minute ago. We've got this in here, which is fine. This area I'm really not sure what to do with. Could always just give up and put more trees in there, but I'm not sure. Let's see. What do I want to work on? It's only 8:15. Our episodes have been so short, it feels like I've been here forever now. And that's not, that's not good. This area should be like a gravel yard. There should be nothing in here. So let's just do that. Let's use the dirt and leaves, perhaps. We've already used this plenty, but it's a good texture. We might want to intersperse some regular gravel on top of it. But this is going to be just a yard for stuff. Maybe I'll throw in a couple of tanks. That might be worthwhile. Yeah, because what? Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll throw in some tanks over in the back here. So, show search filter. Tank. Somehow, with the will of God, managed to recover my old copy of Trainz 2009. Realized that all my old routes from like a decade ago were nowhere as good as I remember them being. Oh, that's so real. That's so real, dude. Yeah, I know. And I bet, like, thankfully, or maybe not thankfully, maybe unfortunately, all of my, like, worst attempts at doing Trainz routes are on record. Like, they're on the visual record. You can go back on this channel and find them. Not that I really recommend that. It's sort of a cognito hazard, I think. But I'm going to sink this into the ground until it's, like, just the red part. Okay, well, now it looks like a sewage treatment plant. Yeah, but it's fine, though. I think we'll keep that. And I think I'll put this, like, right up against the tracks. I mean, we're going to need some chain link fence here, but... yeah, that's... It's good to look at how far you've come as a route builder. And even if you haven't, it's good to look at what you can recognize then. Because if you're not actively building routes, or, maybe you are, but you haven't, you don't feel like you've improved that much. Looking back at stuff you've done in the past and going, oh shoot, like, no, if I were to do this again, I would do this, this, and this. That's improvement. That on its own is improvement. It's you recognizing the faults in something that you made previously. And that's, that's important. Don't write that off. I know too many people that don't consider that, don't consider that the fact that they can look back at their old works and sort of dislike them even. Uh, People don't think that that counts as improvement. It just shows how bad you used to be. And it's like, if you can see the faults of your previous work, that means you've improved. Because before, when you were doing it, I'm sure you wouldn't have, you didn't do it the way you would do it now because you didn't know better. Uh, so that don't let that go. All right, let's get a chain link fence in here. And and I don't know who out here needs to hear this, but it needs to be said. Um, if you feel like you've been playing Trainz for a long time, and you don't have any routes to show for it, it's not about what you make. There's no permanent record. You're here to play the game, and if you're playing, and playing includes building, if you're enjoying yourself, that's all that matters. That, bottom line, is all that matters. I feel the same way about my City Skylines maps. I still have not played City Skylines, and I don't know if I'm going to. I still have SimCity 4 for when I get the city builder itch, and I know they just created like a mod support thing for it, like a mod client sort of doohickey. So I need to go and dive into that, because it's amazing how that game's community is still kicking. It's very impressive to me. It's been a long time since SimCity 4 came out, and honestly, in my opinion, nothing has beaten it. One of the hearts of, uh, yeah, one of the hearts of, you can get it on Steam, of a city builder is traffic management, and I don't feel like City Skylines 1 and 2 really do that all that well, in my opinion, and their systems are fairly limited. Honestly, you know what I think is a better city builder than City Skylines? Transport Fever, the the newest one, Transport Fever 2. It's you're not building the city, but the logistics aspect of it, I think, it makes it feel like a city builder, and watching the cities grow is really satisfying. I don't know, that's kind of a hot take, because it's not a city builder. It's not. It's me saying, like, oh, Gary's Mod is the best train simulator. That's not what that is. But, uh, you know, it's it's it has the mechanical moving parts and the fidelity, like, of manipulating those moving parts that I feel like the City Skylines games lack. Um, I have not yet played it, but I have it in my library. Thanks, Mason. Uh, Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. That seems like a very good game to me in terms of managing traffic and people and logistics. Um, Although it's something that is very different in scope, um, than a traditional city builder. Okay. Um, Something I need to get back to, something that crossed my mind today, because when I was wrapping up work, I had turned on some space videos. I don't remember who they were by. Um, but I went, shoot, I should play Kerbal Space Program again. And honestly, I'm really bummed that Gloria left, because I wanted to sort of pitch this. Uh, and it's something that Gloria and I have done before, but it didn't work out very well. I didn't have, like, the rules figured out. I wanted to play Kerbal Space Program with Gloria, but with Gloria doing all the contract stuff, and I would do the building and the flying. Um, so, like, Gloria would come up with a mission out of the contracts list, and then I'd have to fulfill it with what I have. Um, Excuse me. So, I hadn't figured everything out. I hadn't figured everything out, but that's what that sort of thing has jumped out to me as like a fun way to do co-op Kerbal Space Program. Also, um, a similar thing, and we've done this in the Discord, although it's been a little while. Faster Than Light, which is a great roguelike game from, oh god, 10 years ago now. It's been around, but where you're a starship captain and you go through trials and tribulations. Something that we've done is get a bunch of people in a voice call, have everyone assigned to a crew member, and like, yeah, one person plays and reallocates people, and other folks can chime in, but the other crew members, like, if you're on the ship, you get to vote on all the events. Um, so yeah, and also what to buy at the stores and things like that. Okay, so let's grab this and then just grass in this here. They're fun. I mean, they could be good game night fodder. They're like, it's a lot of, you could do a lot of stuff. Um, I wish I had time to execute on a lot of these. That's 95% of my problem. Uh, and that's just how it goes. Getting old, getting busy. Not that kind of getting busy. Uh, well, not that kind. But even among the things that I do with the horsemen, it's just like time runs thin. Uh, I've got Merger Mania to work on. I've got the trading cards to work on, like I was talking about at the top of the show, just sort of chipping away at that much larger problem of the trading cards. And I mean, we're making one batch right now, 17 cards. We're gonna roll right from that into making the next batch of cards, and depending on supplies at that point, we might roll from that into making the next batch of cards. Um, you know, and it depends. Like, oh, does Heist want to capitalize on this right now and get these things over there as quickly as possible, or should I wait and order them all at once and then have, you know, how much is in one pack of cards? Have like 1,500 trading cards on my kitchen table from 3 different batches. Um, yeah, so 5 and 6. Yeah. 1,500 trading cards plus a little bit, but still. Um, what was that? Oh, that's way too modern. Um, what about this? Maybe I could add like a bunch of these at the end of the road here. Yeah. So, it boils down to sort of a question of where am I going to allocate my time? Obviously, I've got a wedding to plan. The trading cards are like pretty high towards the top of the list, honestly, because that's something that people want and that I sell. I mean, it's not like I profit off of them really, but I want to strike while the iron is hot when it comes to Mark's Madness. And it is a long process, so I don't really want to let up. Okay. Are those garages? Oh, gross. Um, let's sort of reorient these a little bit. I think. Could just use just a touch of reorienting and move them a little bit this way. And then maybe a little bit this way. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, that's something. Especially because these are right down the road from the town pool over there. And again, we're only halfway through the episode. That's crazy to me. I feel like, you know, we haven't had a full-length episode in months. It feels weird, you know? I feel like, oh shoot, I should be done by now. It doesn't help that I'm hungry. And that has nothing to do with the weight loss app. It is just a consequence of me not getting around to eating yet today. And I had lunch at like 3 o'clock, so not a very early lunch. But I had lunch, and dinner has eluded me to this point. Okay. Can I put anything on the corner here? Well, the other thing is this road is split. And I'm not sure if I want to do something about that. I can't really throw in a bridge because of the power lines. I mean, I could lift them up, but the thing is, so look at the sort of flows of traffic, right? If you come down here, you got to take a right and a left to get out of town this way, or you come. This is a major center of, this is a major intersection, a 6-point intersection, it's a big deal. The highest density is going to go over here. A lot of those people are going to go this way into their homes. This is a lot of mill workers. They go along the shoreline here. This is not a very heavily traveled road, especially considering the fact that we have the state highway right here, if it loads. Maybe I could get away with cutting this road like that, closing that crossing. Yeah. Yeah, I think I will. Originally, I don't even think I was gonna. I can't remember if I was going to have this road come through here or not. I thought it was just gonna be this one. Yeah. Um. Hmm. Yeah, there's just no good connection between here and. Well, I mean, I guess you go down the main road here and then take a left. I mean, I've seen about 1,000 towns like that in New England, so that's less than a surprise. Um, so maybe I shouldn't be too worried about that. Okay. These houses are getting stuff underneath them. Underneath of them. And here. I don't know how far back we want to make these back lawns go. I'd imagine rather far. I think we're just going to have like a little grass / shrub strip in the back here. Maybe throw some trees on it. But it's going to look like this right now. Because we're going to come through and do trees later for the whole town. Everything that isn't part of the clone stamp. Copy paste. Yeah, grassy knoll. Mr. President, get down. I think his head just did that. 2 shooters, 1 shooter? No, 0 shooters. His head just did that. Great video by Lemino about the Kennedy assassination. It's very interesting to me. It's one of those that, I mean, it does it doesn't not have a particular angle that it wants to say. I mean, every Kennedy documentary is like, we think it was this or that, or it was this person controlling uh, Oswald to kill the president, kill John Lennon. Um, but I appreciate personally. I I think it's pretty straightforward that Oswald acted alone. Um, because it would have been really hard to set him up in that window ahead of time, considering he had the job for quite a while. All right, we need to find new fences. Hello, Orion. We need to find new fences for these two. Probably just for this one actually, and I'm thinking like a privacy fence. Maybe the tall wooden one. Yeah, this one. So like starting from here and going back all the way back and to the left. Uh, Funny alternatives. Both Oswald and the CIA wanted off, and they just ended up doing it at the same time. Yeah, but something I always love is the idea that like uh, both the mob and the Russians or whatever wanted to assassinate Kennedy, and Oswald did it, and they both just assumed the other party was responsible. Uh, you know, it's like, oh shoot, they got to him first. No way, and that's what everyone is thinking when Oswald just decided to do it. I must ask, since it's getting warm out, what should I add to an RC track? I don't know. Some jumps. Okay. Um, let's put this. Let's just bring this up close to the thing. I don't really know what to do with this fence area. Oh, you know what we need? We need should have a lava pit. Yeah. Should add a chicken jockey. Um, let's move this over and then like add a let's add a garage maybe. Let's grab the other kind of garage, the blue door one. Put it back here. Hard to keep lava hot, but spicy chicken on demand sounds nice. I could use some spicy chicken. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to have for dinner. Like what I'm going to order, because there's not a ton in the house. Not a ton that I can make anyway. Oh right, tomorrow night I was supposed to go out. That's right. Now I remembered. I don't know why we were talking about Saturday, like this upcoming Saturday earlier, and I just was like, I don't know what this weekend holds for me. I got invited out to a a bar, but I'm not going there for the bar or this music. And my mom knows the band, and she's like, "Oh, come and meet my friends." So I might head down. I might have some fun, and by have some fun, I mean just hang out and listen to music and chat and drink a Shirley Temple. Okay, we need to do the paving for this, which I am not sure how to handle. I'm not sure how to handle. So these all have this on the back. All have garage doors on the rear. Although, what is going on here? That doesn't seem right. And so I guess I'll just sort of pave around the entire outside, and because that's some car-centric design right there. Pave around the entire outside, and then put some grass and walking area in the middle. That might do. I'm struggling because it's tough to see, because it's very similar to the gray grid. Like, it's very close. And honestly, Domino's is tempting. I've had Domino's is like my go-to when I order out. It's one of the only places that I have an account at. So like they send me stuff. They send me like the um shoot. They send me coupons is the word that I'm looking for. They send me offers and deals and coupons and things, and I accumulate points because I order from them enough that I was incentivized to do that, which is something I almost never do. There are, I mean, there are very few, not even just restaurants, just anything at all where I have my own thing that I've signed up with my phone number and I can, I that I use. It's like that, and not even the grocery store because I use Gloria's. That's the thing. I don't do this to myself. Gloria has their own Domino's rewards, and I've been getting it on my own so often that I decided I needed my own. Um, oh shoot, you make their pizza boxes? That's cool. I will have to look. I wonder where our pizza boxes here come from. I will have to look. Uh, I will if I do get Domino's, if you're around next Thursday, next time I stream, you can be like, hey, did you get one of my pizza boxes? And I will check. Or I will try to remember. Um, hopefully I do remember. You know, there's a non-zero chance that I will not. And if that's the case, then I apologize. Let's throw like a little gazebo in the middle here. Uh, this actually reminds me of, is this a little one or a big one? That's kind of a big one. I don't. That's too big. Um, wheelie bin. Yeah, whatever. We'll do that. I hope I remember to check the box if I do get Domino's. Um, not sponsored, by the way. But I need to pick something out. And Mossy Mug, you said barbecue and tempting. I don't know where I can get. Like, I'm not going out. That's the thing. I'm not going anywhere. If I was going somewhere, that would open it up. But I'm in, I'm in pajamas still. So this is, my opportunity to like leave the house and do something. That is past today. I'm not. I will not be doing anything. Okay, so there's carports there. There's carports here, and a garage. Smoked sausage risotto. Wow, that sounds delicious. Uh, I made a sausage and peppers pizza last time I got Domino's. I was like, ah, yes, Italian food. Um, Chinese delivery. Yeah, I could do that. I very seldom get Chinese on my own. Like this, I feel like I have a pretty broad palette these days. It's just when I'm left to my own devices, I go back to 10 years old. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll make mac and cheese, I'll make a frozen pizza, or I'll order pizza, and that's it. That's it for me. I'm not proud of it, not even a little. Okay, let's. Where is my thing? I don't feel like figuring it out. When I'm on my own, there's like no incentive for me to figure it out. When I'm with Gloria, I want to try new things. I want to experience life with them, and I want to experience different foods and stuff with them. But when I'm by myself, I don't care about that. I want to get something that I know I want to eat. Um, Bachman Trinity hoppers are pretty nice. Cool. I haven't purchased a piece of rolling stock since the Big E, and what I purchased at the Big E is still, I think, behind me on the table, which is the O-gauge pickle car that I'm not allowed to run because I'm not allowed to set up the O-gauge, because last time I did that, Gloria ended up in the hospital. Um, so I'm not. I'm in O-scale jail. This is why I have to go back to Maine, because there I get to play with the trains. Well, now that I'm certified, I can be a car host, which is fun. I would like to do the car hosting. That sounds like useful, you know. Um, okay, so let's put some grass in the back here. Come help me build your N-scale layout. I am not a layout builder. I'm a layout planner. Um, I mean, I can do. I'm sure. I've done carpentry. I've done wiring. I've done stuff like that. I have never built my own layout though. I've never even like really entertained the idea. Um, Partially because I have the Providence Northern Model Railroad Club, and that's been fine for me for my pretty much my whole life. I've been going there for a long time. Um, it was about time they made me president, and that has sort of kept the idea of having my own layout at bay. And now that I have my own house, I don't really have a place to put it. So, like, weirdly enough, you'd think, oh, I've got my own house now. Now I've got more room to build a layout. No, there's not really a place for me to put it. The only place that's really viable would be downstairs. And downstairs, if you know my house, you know that downstairs is not viable. Alright, see you, Ryan. RC cars. Oh, blue Chevy K10. Cool. RC cars are cool. I feel like RC cars are one of those things that uh, it like seldom is acknowledged that it moves past childhood, but you can do stuff with RC cars as an adult and it's still cool, you know? Um, can I get a sidewalk in here? I need a small one. I need this kind because these are quite good. 2.4 bendy. From here to here. Actually, it should go from right there. No. It should go from a spot like here. Yeah, there we go. To there. And then this also goes to there, like the middle. Yeah, just make it like a neat little sort of spiral thing. But I keep saying, oh, I gotta go back to here, I gotta go back to there. I'm so glad I don't have to go back to the rules class. And I thought I lost my rules book again. I thought I lost it again. I got home from the WWF, and like one day went by, and I went, oh shoot, where did I put it? Where did I put it? Did I lose it again? Did I misplace it somewhere? Immediately, within 24 hours. No, I put it in my glove box in my car. Like now I remember that it's there, but I don't know, in case I'm out somewhere and I just decide I need to take a read through it, I can pull over and read through my WWF rulebook. Okay. Let's do this. And then I missed a spot over here. I need to finish this area. I'm not entirely sure what to do with it. I think I just need to put some gravel back here. Same thing with this. Or maybe I'll do something else. Maybe I'll do dirt. Grass and mud, or dirt and leaves. Just a strip of it back here, and then, I'll park some cars back here maybe. If I feel like doing that detailing, I'll put some cars back here. If not, then it'll just be what it is. Do this here. Also, there isn't... So you said... I'm coming back to the barbecue thing. There's not great barbecue near me. Not that I'm aware of. There are a couple of chains that are okay, but there's nothing that I know of that has, that is a local place that has consistently good barbecue near me. There was only one place that I knew that did barbecue, and it was not good. And they closed, and then they reopened, and I went, they took the, you know, hopefully they hit the reset button, went back to the drawing board, and figured out how to make good barbecue. No, it was still bad. Not great barbecue is better than no barbecue. Maybe. It really depends. Depends how often you. It depends how good the good barbecue is. Um, because I can think of some great barbecue, and I don't even want. I don't even want the local stuff. Um, I'm trying not to be like, elitist about it, but it's just not very tasty, and it's tough to eat. Uh, like, you know, ribs and wings are effort to eat, and so are like chicken thighs and stuff like that. Anything where you're picking it up to your face hole and you're macking on it and you're pulling off the meat with your teeth, like that's effort. It takes work. There's cleanup involved. Um, it's you know it's something that I have to be in the mood for because I am I only want to eat it if it's worth the effort. And there's some wing places around here that are definitely worth the effort. There is not a ribs place around here, like a proper barbecue joint that is worth the effort. There's some stuff like I had some stuff in Portland. For a long time, I had tucked into the little pocket of my high visibility vest from one of the very first times I did site work. I took the train up to Portland, Maine, um, and I had some barbecue there, and it was decent. It was decent enough that like I remember it, and I kept that little thing. I'm a sucker for hanging on to souvenirs like that, though, so maybe that doesn't say as much as it otherwise could. Um, okay, this has got to be cut back to, because I'm not continuing this through, so this has got to get cut back to here. Yeah. And then let's grab this. I see, I don't, and that's the thing. The effort means I don't crave barbecue enough to like need it, you know? I don't crave it enough to really want it if it's not going to be worth it. Okay. So this is this. It's just going to end there at the crossing. Uh, yeah, I keep like just like a couple ribs, just like two or three, in my back pocket, just so that when I'm hungry, I can pull one out and start chewing on it. Um, okay, I've got one. It was stay strapped. Yeah, exactly. Uh, yeah, perfect. The right to bear meats. Okay. Aircraft hangar. Aircraft carrier. I did see that right. Yeah, this will go right here. That looks good. Um, anyway. Let's see. What do we have any? Are we missing any services in this neighborhood? I don't know where the nearest fire or police station is. I don't know where the nearest gas station is. Yeah, where is the nearest gas? Oh, it's over here. It's on the other side of the river. Um, hmm. Should I throw down a gas station over here? I honestly, I have not built one on this side of the river yet, I'm realizing. The closest ones are that one that I just pointed out, and there's one. Is this a filling station? Yeah, yeah. There's this one right here. I don't know what the ordinance is on greatest distance between gas stations. If it's anything like Dunkin' Donuts in Boston, they've got to be within eyesight. Is this? No, that's not a gas station. It's just a building with a cool thingy that I sunk all the way into the ground, so it's just the tip. Um, hmm. This also needs to get worked on, that intersection right there. Can't do food in the pockets, though. Just can't do it. Can't do it. I mean, I understand for the meme, right? But in seriousness, absolutely cannot do it. I can't bear the thought of getting stuff on the inside of my pocket that I cannot clean off. Uh, you know, there are some people that do not care, and I don't understand. It is impressive to me how much some people do not care. Um, okay, let's get rid of that. What do we want to have here? Because we are right next to the railroad track. Um, Detroit Showcase abandoned. Now, I'm thinking about this, right? Thinking about this. Originally, so this was not here. This curve right here. Originally, the branch line ended here to serve the industries, and it connected through here, and it tied in over here. Um, Tactical sausage. Uh, because the yard was down here, and so what you would do is you'd pull your train out of the yard all the way up here, and then you would cross the river, and then you would shove back and service all the industries on this side of the river. Because that was the main line. It went that way. This way, this got built afterward, and so it just sort of paved through this area. Um, this area has densified dramatically in the last 30 years or so, or longer. Um, well, no, that actually would have been Jefferson and Gilson would have built this, so that's like turn of the century. And then this is the newer part built in like the 20s. Because this connects to this, connects to this, connects to that way. Um, that was sort of their attempt at doing something really big and cool, and it didn't really work out for them, but it sticks around. Um, it's just been cut down to size a little bit, and I do really like the way this looks with the ties and stuff, and the rails embedded in the asphalt. I really like the way that's come out. I love the environmental storytelling that we're doing here. This over here caught my eye after we built it, where it goes from road to gravel road to dirt path to just the end. I like that a lot. So there wouldn't have been industry necessarily along this way. Maybe something would have popped up after this had passed through here. Maybe, right? And honestly, I don't know if I can sever this, because look at this. Look how straight of a line this is. I mean, it's the 1950s. Were they closing crossings this often? I don't think so. So I think I'm gonna have to fix this. I think I'm gonna have to let it through. Especially with the strip mall over there. Okay, alright. I've changed my tune. Let me put it back. And then I'll just go to right there. And then I will delete this. Yeah, looking at it, I mean, in theory it's nice. It would be a nice crossing to close. But why would we bother closing that crossing? People will figure it out. And if they don't figure it out, Darwin Awards. Certainly not the worst crossing I've seen. Maybe. I'm not sure. Actually, no, it's definitely not. It's just got a lot of tracks. At least the sight lines are long. Well, this isn't going to do any favors, but at least it's a straight piece of railroad track and not a curve. Um, so yeah. Now we could throw down an industry over here. Something that came to life afterward. Um, just like a warehouse of some kind. Because it's right along the railroad track. Let's see. And what is this? This is abandoned Detroit showcase. Also, can't help but notice half of the sides are backwards. Not great. I've talked about getting too cute and building too much abandoned stuff and cutting into your ability to do non-abandoned stuff. But I've also talked about how worrying about that too much is kind of a trap in and of itself because you've got unlimited space. You don't have to worry about that too much. Whoa, look at this bridge. Doesn't have any track on it. Oh wait, the track's on the ground. Well, you could just add your own bridge track anyway. That's a great bridge. Gotta use that somewhere. That's for when terrain is not subtle. Um, oh, boat docks long. Shoot, we should have used this somewhere. We gotta use this. Look at this. That's cool. I like that a lot. Um, fishing boat. Okay. What is that? I saw Brassworks. Okay, this is a really cool building. We sort of already did a fishing town. That's my problem right now. We already, like, I wish I had found and used that elsewhere. Um, this is a really, really cool looking building. Like, it's one of those, or I see it, I immediately have to throw it down because, like, I can't forget about it. Um, all right, let me see if I can get a warehouse in here. Show search filter. And what kind of? I mean, we could just have a warehouse take general goods, right? Um, but we could also have it take something more specific than that. Uh, I know an area in Cranston, not too far from me, where there were a whole bunch of buildings like this sort of butted up against the railroad track. I don't know how many of them used to be rail-served industries, but a decent number of them, I would imagine. Um, okay, hold on. Let's make sure this is just one straight line and not anything weird. Um, let's do this. And we want a nice long thing. We want a nice long S-curve to attach back into the main line. This right here, that's too sharp. That's way too sharp. I plugged into that because we already had a spline point there, and I am going to use this to pull it in this direction until it's satisfactory. That right there is about as bad as you want it to get. And I know I've definitely done worse, but I'm trying to do it the right way. Yeah. This is definitely a, oh shoot, there's a parcel next to the railroad tracks, let's buy it and put up a warehouse sort of deal. I mean, what does one get delivered by rail in, like, medium quantities? Let me go back to my freight cars and loads and see if there's anything that jumps out at me. I mean, honestly, bags of ammonium nitrate. Ammonium nitrate, we've got, let's see. It's in a tank car. We don't have, like, ammonium nitrate pallet. Um, oh, we could have, like, a bottling place for helium or other things like that. Um, let's see. No, I mean, we could just use one of these product crates, like Del Monte product crate or Express product. Although I intend to use that for something else. There we go. Fertilizer bag pallet, or flour bag pallet, or fruit canned on pallet. Um, um, that sort of thing. Something that's maybe not too specific. Um, mobile oil drums. What does that come in? Sorry, I'm just looking through my spreadsheet here. I almost just knocked my drink directly into my computer. Mobile oil drums. Comes in a mill gondola. That's not very helpful. Um, oxygen gas. Um, palletized goods. That's wonderfully specific. Palletized goods. Um, potatoes bagged on pallet. Propane, but we don't have a tank for that. Um, yeah, I think one of these. I think one of the like. There are things we could do, but it's got to be boxcar stuff. That's the thing. It's got to be boxcar stuff. Um, but that's fine because we can do this. We can get away with that. That's fine. That is a nice little place, and then I will add some other stuff along here. Probably like warehouses or quasi commercial stuff. Give me the invisible track, please. We also don't have a coal dealer. I don't think we have a coal dealer here in town. That is something that we're going to need. That is honestly something I could put here. But we don't have a lot of... we don't really have the height difference for it, nor do we have the space for, like, the parking lot. Yeah, we're going to need a coal dealer. Actually, let me check my ideas doc to see if there's anything that I'm missing here. Let me go into my Google Drive and find it. It's in here somewhere. Tolbrand. Ideas. I don't know why this hasn't been open. Beach House Special. No, okay, that's not helpful. And then this whole. I had written down like a whole thing on how like the operations are going to work. That's not very useful anymore. Okay. Cement plant, feed mill, bread factory, which we have. Cannery, meat packing plant, munitions plant, which we have set up. A big textile mill called Bellington Coat Factory. A small metal works. None of that is this. So, if there's anyone alive out there, which I know there aren't too many of you in the audience right now, you can toss out an idea for something if you want, and I'll put it on the list. But I do need to write down coal dealer. Coal dealer. There's a fertilizer plant in Randall, town of Randall, which is up the line. What is this building? This is a cool little building. It's a little old for what I'm doing over here, but it's a cool building. A machine shop. Yeah, we had a metalworks written down. Sort of that same idea. I'm really not sure what to do with a lot of this stuff. Because we have all these industries along the edge here that I'm not sure what they do necessarily. This could be something like that, or it could be a distributor. This is whatever this is. Um, this is like a dairy plant. This, I have no clue. This is the something or other. This is like a textile works. The cannery is over here. This is a cannery, right? I need a name for the cannery. A beer distributor. Ooh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I will write that one down. We'd need a beer distributor, yeah. Especially because we have beer being made in the next town over. This is the cannery. And a brewery too. Well, we have a brewery one town over. I mean, not to say that we can't have more than one brewery, but still. I need a bigger brewery than that one. That one is small. It's going to put out like, one carload. Which the minimum we're doing anything on this route is one carload a day. So that's, the bare minimum. I'm going to call this JT Cannery. JT Cannery. Actually, cancel that because what we actually need is a multiple industry for it to be labeled JT Cannery. Yeah. Alright, let's get a multiple industry. I need multiple industry new. And I'm just trying to use the regular ones. Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Brewers. Honestly, Milwaukee is such a great town name. I feel like I should use it even if it's just, blatantly. I've been trying to go a little further afield than my typical picks for town names, which is why we don't have, like, a Troy, a Providence, this, that, the other. Most of the things that we're going to have on this map are... Oh. Can I'm going to need to fix that. Most of the things that we're going to have on this map are things that I have not had on other maps necessarily. And in terms of town names, and or I've taken like from community suggestions or from like lore related things. I mean, I think the most cliche. Well, there are two that are very cliche. One is Wallenbeck, because it's named after the cog, the locomotive on the cog, and I think it's just a great name. The other one is Gilson City, because that's just a name that I've had floating around in the back of my head for so long at this point. I've been dying to use it. Oh shoot, it needs to turn just a little bit to the left. Come on, just a little. Just a tad. Just a tad. It's pointing away from the platform pretty... I mean, I can tell, but it's not bad. And then is this straightened? It is straightened. Let's scoot this over to the left. But it's also tracking a gravel parking lot, so it's not going to be wonderful. Alright, so let's do this. Edit details. Please spare me from the... Hello, can I... Floating Railroad. No, there's nothing attached to that. Can I change the name of it, please? That's the search function. Edit details? What am I missing? Can I change it up here? How do I change the name? Guess you can't do everything in this. Script properties. Yeah, same old, same old. We'll have to fix that later. Surveyor Classic. Back to this. Um, this is gonna be JT Cannery. JT Cannery. Oh wait, this has to go by the standards. Oh shoot. Car goes back into here. Are standards at the bottom of the list here? No, they're over here. Standards. There. Track marks trigger signals. Industry track. Town railroad name use. Well, you know what? We can set the standard for that later. But this is JT Cannery. I'm focused on getting these down for what they are, like, supposed to be. Because this is the munitions factory. Oh, you know what? And let's show named objects like we did before. Named objects. Oh yeah, Tolbrin Instruments. JT Cannery. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is just called Cannery. Which, just delete that. Save changes. No? Oh, I can't have it be nothing. Save. Whatever. It's just JT Cannery. Why JT? Because the first thing that came to mind was Jeffrey's tube. This is an electronics factory, but it's going to be not this. This is going to be Bellington Code Factory. So Bellington Code Factory. The dairy co-op, the meatpacking plant, something milling company. Yeah, so we have the milling company. We're gonna have like two little milling companies. This one is going to be the one that I already had the name of written down, which is Finch Metalworks. Oh wait, sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Wait, what? What is that? Oh, because this whole thing is one. And then this right here is going to be Finch Metalworks. Finch Metalworks, and then whatever milling company. Should find a name for that. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll call it Milwaukee Milling Company because Milwaukee's a good name. Milwaukee Milling Company. We also have another thing over here, which is going to receive some kind of tank car. Oh, it's Detroit Mill Supply Company. And I'll drop off like argon or something. Detroit Mill Supply Company of Bellington. It's based in an area that vaguely resembles New England, or at least it does right now. It's not something that is going to be completely resembling New England. Oh, yeah, Bell Paper, crafting press. Oh, this is. Oh, okay. So I had two things. Crafting press is a place that does printing, I guess, and then another place that takes in paper down here because they're just a distributor. This is going to be something warehouse. Aeolus Bread, Suffering Goods Distributors, and then this, which I have no idea what to do with, to be honest. Great Northern Railway Company's Goods Warehouse. I could get Native American names for things, that's true. There is... I even did some, like, Native American lore in terms of their interaction with the colonists and stuff like that. They you know, and later on into like the 1800s, the sort of racial tensions that existed. I have written some of that into lore. It's not really pulled from real life. It's sort of made whole cloth for this because things are different. Um, when I say it resembles New England, I mean, in some respects it does. Architecturally, this area does. Um, but it might not completely resemble it historically. And I really haven't messed with the lore in a while, is the thing. I would love to dive back into it. Um, Sending you a series you did in college about the history of New England mill cities. I mean, that sounds very cool. It could definitely be some good fodder. Um, Mulligan Cement, Bell Paper, Finch Metalworks, Detroit Mill Supply Company, Bellington, Bellington Coat Factory, Crafting Press, Dairy Co-op, and then Tolbrand Instruments. Um, and then we have this over here, which is just like the tank farm. Um, oh, talk about Frank. Oh, cool. Based off of Franklin. Hey, that's a cool. That's very cool. I like that. I don't really know what to do with this. Also, like I decided to call this a goods distributor, but it clearly is more than that, and I just have not decided what to do with it. Um, um, let's see. Uh, I like the yeah. I want like a German name for this, and I'm going to find one. Uh, I'm trying to find a particular name, like Machine Fabrique or something that I know I've heard before. Uh, desk. I don't know what that. I don't know what that means. Translate German to English. No, English to German. Uh, hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about I don't know about enough about the German language to like make an assessment here on even really know what I'm looking for. But if I'm gonna do a machine shop sort of place, I think it's got to be this, and we just have to bring in like metal stock or something. Um, but I've talked about that maybe this place like puts out goods or something. Um, what does sus mean in German? That's one of the things that comes up. Um, hmm. I'm gonna search Google for machine fabric. Yeah, this is a place that does stuff. No, it's not. Anywho, I could spend a while on this. I could sort of come up with stuff. I came up with the suffering goods distributors, which I don't really like. I think we need to be a little bit more exciting with the names of these industries. Some of them are fun, but a lot of them are pretty straightforward. Um, Bell Paper, Mulligan Cement, Suffering Goods Distributors, Aeolus Bread. It's just like name and then thing. We can do better than that. Um, this, and I've got to set up these crossings and things. Every time I look at that, I sort of get a little, uh, but yeah, look, we're chipping away at this. We're chipping away at this. This is a real goal right here. I don't know when it's going to be done, but every time I see it, I think, "Ooh, this is great. We're making headway." Um, Between this corner and again this corner, which is much larger, but ignore that because that's the baseball stadium. Um, we've just got to do this, but I'm kind of residential districted out right for tonight. I can definitely throw some more grass splines in here. And we do need to find a place for that coal distributor. I also need to, if I'm going to start, naming stuff, I need to think about the colonial history of the place and who moved in when, and, you know. Uh, but it's also possible that a place with a, strangely foreign name could be sort of someone from outside buying in relatively late. Uh, but if it's still in a foreign language, then it wouldn't necessarily make sense. That would be the kind of thing that would stick around for a long time. Um, Towards the hills, there would have been a lot more sort of native interaction. Here, not so much. Um, so there might not have been that sort of pressure in terms of cultural pressure. Um, and it's not like I'm building a little Germany or a little Italy or something where you're going to expect to see something written in a foreign language. Excuse me. So I think it probably behooves me to not throw that around. As much as it would be fun to do so. Wait a minute, I have an idea. It's fine if it's a joke, right? Let me look something up. Uh, uh, there we go. Yeah. We've got our machine shop. Um, I need some French Canadian names. Oh God. Uh, Anything but the French. All right. So at least it's a little bit different. And we will get a goods distribution place. There's plenty of opportunities for us to have that. Um, well, the thing is, I don't have that kind of national border. I mean, I've never thought about it. I could have that kind of national border where you would get that kind of different language culture bleeding across. It wouldn't be super close, maybe, or maybe it would south of. That does explain some things actually. What if I put a national border on the map? What if down at the south end of the thing it cuts off and it's some other country with some other language? South end of the map, which would be south of Wombeck, which would explain the interesting name of Wombeck. It would also maybe explain the interesting name of the city that's south of the border, which is uh, new DMAG. And I mean, I can change it from NEW to NU to make it a little bit more foreign. Uh, and just disguise it just the slightest amount, you know, just the slightest amount. But then it wouldn't make sense that their team name is the Centerfold. Um, that joke only works in English. Yeah, Woonsocket is yeah. We can, I mean, we can pull out the names like that. I The thing is, the reason that I'm hesitant, and bear with me, the reason that I'm hesitant to start throwing out foreign language names is because I need to consider what that looks like in the lore. Why are there foreign language names? I don't let myself have that much fun. It's not allowed, um, unless there's a really good reason for it, like the SB the reference over there to all the cursed steam locomotive photoshops. Um, you know, that's something that maybe I can get away with a little bit more because it has another reason to be there, at least sort of non-diegetically, right? Like out here in the real world, it has a reason to be there, even if it might not have as much of a reason to be there in universe. Uh, Textile mill in that case for some petite Canada in a neighborhood. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I think I think I need to find a good place for it, and I don't have a place here. Maybe in something like the next town over, which is Raven Bridge, or that's not the next town over; it's like two towns over. But something like that, I can dig into foreign culture a little bit, because that is secluded enough that it won't be like the uniqueness of that culture could have persevered. Um, just one town where everything's in French or German or Italian or something. Uh, it might be, it'd be a fun little experiment, certainly. Um, it's not like we're going to go whole hog and have like British locomotives rolling around. Uh, Although that has been talked about. Um, French Canadian mill towns in New England and substations. Listen, the thing that I love about having people that come along for the ride, and it's been a relatively quiet night, so I appreciate your input, is that you get to give this input. And one of the things I like about Tolbrand is that it's so vast that there isn't one consistent vision, and there doesn't have to be. Um, this this map is large enough. This town is big enough for the both of us. This map is large enough that when people come up with ideas, I can find a place to integrate them. And even if it's not something that's going to come up for a while, um, it's something that I can still do and I can still write down and I can still consider for the future and mark it down when it comes around. In fact, let me ideas. Raven Bridge. Oh, right. And I said there was going to be like a power plant there too, and a nitric acid plant. I also am going to put down. I'm going to write what kind for power plant because I honestly don't know. It might be a hydro plant. Um, Hydro. Nitric acid plant, and I also want to put in, uh, you know, foreign culture is strong here. German question mark, French question mark, something else question mark. Um, Raven Bridge is going to be an interesting place. It also is where the main line goes down to two tracks. It's the only place along the Gilson Eastern where the main line goes down to 2 tracks. Okay, appreciate it. I will see if I can put some time and listen to that, either tomorrow or sometime soon. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep it in mind. Maybe I'll save it for like next Wednesday and watch it before I come back to do Tollbrand. But even any ideas I get in my head, they aren't going to be used for a long time. That's maybe the one bad thing about this, the size of this map, is that I've got room for just about everything. I mean, I've got an entire 2-foot division planned out on the other side of the planet, uh, and God knows if I'm ever going to get there. Much less if I'm going to want to do that when I get there. Um, I appreciate the inspiration because there's just so much to build, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. This is not a project that I'm looking towards the end of. I mean, God, the idea of it ending terrifies me in multiple ways. I mean, I'm sure there will always be stuff to do. A model railroad is never finished, and neither is this. But uh, I just question, like, in 200 years, when I finish the route, what am I going to do with myself? Die, I guess. Uh, let's fill that in there. Let's fill this in here. And then put this grass along here. And I probably want to put some fences up around these. I'm thinking like little white picket fences, because these houses are very cute. And, you know, this place is a serious mix of every style and thing I can think of. So, this is just a plot of land that I would imagine got subdivided and sold off sort of together, right? Because these houses are all very similar. And this can go this way. And I really kind of encroached there with that, but maybe that's just the shape of this this plot is very irregular. And I'll bring this all the way back to here. Okay. Get some more done. I guess. That's something. You know what? This deserves... Well, no. You know what? They're like 1 block away from the community pool. They don't need a pool in their backyard. This is good, though. It's one of these things where I feel like I thought I was never going to see the work done down in this direction. Like, I was never going to cross the river like this. And that's not to say that we don't have, you know, river to work on the other side. We, you know, stuff to work on this side of the river. We absolutely do. But doing work over here today is kind of surreal. It did feel like I was never going to get here. For a long time, Bellington proper, which is what this is regular Bellington. South Bellington is on the other side of the river. It felt like this was going to be totally unattainable, out of reach, and I was going to just work on South Bellington forever, and then, you know, sort of slip in the tub at 85, and wake up at the pearly gates, right, or somewhere else. But that reminds me of something that's going on, that I can only make a joke of because no one here knows any of the participants, because it's honestly kind of tragic and sad, and I don't want to make light of a really tragic, sad thing, but I could not help but think of something when I learned of it. Uh, what else are you gonna do? Uh, no, I thought I thought this was gonna be like the fact that this is done. Oh my god, it's incredible to me. We've been working at this for so gosh darn long that this this area being something that we can sort of mosey on through, even just like along the riverside. Even the fact that this is still like everything on this side of the railroad tracks, which that's going to be the next milestone is crossing the tracks and going up that way. Um, but we've got stuff over here that needs to get done. We've got stuff over here that needs to get done. But so much of this is done, and on this side, we're going to be doing a lot more farm fields. So this area is going to fill in pretty quick. Um, like as we mosey down this way, I should probably grab the map. As we mosey down that way, that is going to become, I think, a little bit more hilly. Let's see, Tolbrin map. It's labeled Tolbrin superimposed still because it's superimposed on the original doodle that I did. Whoops, just clicked off of everything. Yeah, as we get further this way, it is going to get a little more rugged. Just a little bit, not too much, but still. We're gonna be going from an area that looks like this. Looks like this, where it's Iowa. Um, Probably through a much more brief area of this, which looks like, I don't know, somewhere in Ohio, I guess, where, not quite the Great Plains, but getting there. Um, and then back into an area that looks like this. Or maybe just a little bit different. Ignoring the shoreline, because we're not going to get that close to the shoreline again. At least not for quite some time. I'm going to have to sort of mix this and this. I don't really feel like doing more farm fields, but we're going to have to get back to it. And that's okay, because that's not something we're going to be doing for a long time. We're going to be building this way first. So it's just sort of food for thought in terms of what our terrain is going to look like and what we're going to get out of it. I think we'll go from farming land, maybe back to grazing land, maybe back to forests as we approach the next town, which the next town is not going to be all that large, and that we go into what's effectively a canyon. I mean, it's going to be a broad valley, but still. And then we run up to the end of that valley and we run into a tunnel. And that tunnel is going to be the tunnel to Ravenbridge. It's going to be a relatively long tunnel. We're going to come out on the other side, cross a river, and then get into Ravenbridge. I'm wondering what that's going to look like. It's going to look like some, again, probably New England town on a fairly major river, but with a more significant drop in elevation on that river than we've had previously, or than maybe is in a lot of New England. The terrain's going to be a little bit more rugged than most of New England, I would imagine. It's almost like a fjord, but not quite. Nothing that extreme, certainly, but just sort of that shape, but spread out. Because we come through a ridge, basically. We come through a ridge. We come out the other side, and we come out on the low end of a plateau that's going to keep sloping up, I think. Because we're down where the river is. I really wonder how high above, how high we're going to get. Because then we've got to get back down. We've got to get down to not sea level, but close to it. I mean, Gelson City is going to be pretty close to sea level because it's an ocean city. We're going to be further from the water than we are now. I don't really think there's going to be much of a climb between Bellington and Ravenbridge, and you know what? You can see what I'm looking at here. Where is screen? Screen. There's screen. So Bellington's here. That's where we are right now. And then we're going to come this way. And I mean, honestly, this will probably be a downhill. A bunch of this will be downhill. We're going to come up a little bit, and then we're going to come down a little bit. And then we're going to come through this little, set of mountains here. Not really mountains, just hills. To this town, which doesn't have a name yet. Which is going to be on a high place overlooking the river. And when I say overlooking, I don't literally mean overlooking. I expect the terrain here to be kind of subtle. The river is going to come up to meet us, and then we're going to rise with the river, which is not going to be much of a river, and then we are going to get to the end of the, end of this canyon here, valley, whatever you want to call it, and punch straight on through into Ravenbridge. The fact that we have the headwaters of a river and this part of a river so close together is probably less than ideal in terms of what we're going to have to build for topography. We will just have to figure that out. I'm honestly thinking that, because this is where the river is, this is going to be higher than this, so this is going to be higher than Ravenbridge here, and it's going to be about equal height to the top of that, which means that this isn't going to be all that high. And we're going to come out here, and it's going to be less of a we're coming out of mountains onto a flat land. It's more like this area is generally higher than this area. Like this whole area is sort of a plateau that slopes away from this line, so it slopes down to there, but it really slopes down this way. And this just happens to be a ridge that divides a relatively speaking much lower area and a relatively speaking much higher area. Again, not much of a difference, a few hundred feet maybe, but enough to cause, enough that this is the only connection between the two aside from this, which then this river does not make any sense. Then this has got to be a ridge line too. So this has got to be like going uphill to there, which does make sense with this here. This is why we're doing this piece by piece, because we've got to fit all of these terrain features together in a way that hydrologically and topologically makes sense. And we're not going to have huge mountains. I mean, these look big on the map, but they are relatively low stakes compared to everything out here. We'll have to burn that bridge when we get to it. I'm going to turn off the screen share now. There we go. Back to work. Down in the van down by the river. In a van down by the river. That's what I was trying to say. This I wanted to be an orchard. I'm not really sure what to do with it. We're going to need a lot of fruit trees. What have we got for apple trees, even? This is another, like, if we can finish this, that'd be cool. Tree apple. Okay, cool. What about this one? Okay, same thing. What about this one? Okay, that's little. So we don't want the little ones. We want these two. In fact, I think I'm going to take the second one and space them out like this. And then we will just copy-paste those across the world. We seem to have made a divot here. Radius high, sensitivity low. Let's smooth this out a little bit. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to look a little better than this. Let's get the sensitivity just a little bit higher. There we go. Okay. Yeah, and we'll work on this orchard at some point. Yeah, again, this chunk, and this chunk are the three things that I really want to get cleaned up before we move too far away from them. There what jumps out at me is like, ooh, we're almost done. And this is why it's good to break things up, right? This is why it's good to, when you do this work, Dusty Divot. That's a great name for it. I'm going to name the orchard that. Just going to put this here. I like Dusty Divot. And then let's get a barn in here. Yeah, the IRM barns. Yeah, that's what I need. Dairy barn. No, I need like high detail barn. I don't know where the heck, where does one store apples? Hungry for apples? Mail pouch barn. Now let's do that. Silo. You put apples in a silo? Is that a thing you do? I don't know enough about farming. I would imagine you'd keep them kind of in like a refrigerated warehouse thing, but in this era, I doubt it. Oh wait, what was that? What is this? I need to Google this. Oh my god, look at this building. This is like higher detail than Skyrim building. Jeez. Jeez Louise. Okay, we've got this. I mean, you could just sort of like go to an apple orchard on Google Maps, you know, and just see what they've got, I guess, right? Um, put one of these in the corner. Or maybe I'll put it like in the opposite corner. I'll put it like over there. Um, just like, oh, we can store things at the opposite end of the farm. Dusty Divot. Um, this is a nice barn. Look at this. I love the idea of a silo full of apples. I've seen. Has anyone else seen like the circulating video of? And it's an old video, I think, too. Um, of like the subway train pulling up and it's full of apples. You know, uh, I don't know why I've stumbled onto that video multiple times. Like I have the vaguest memory from my childhood of picking apples. I don't know where, and I don't know what the context was. I don't know if it was a field trip or something I did with one of my parents, or like something else. but I know I've been to an apple orchard before. I'm gonna assume it was a field trip because my memory says it was vaguely educational. Uh, like that's my thought process right now. I'm trying to dig into what I remember and just like come out with details that would help answer this question. Um, but a train full of apples, a silo full of apples is very funny to me. You open the door and they just come out. They just all come rolling out at you. Um, but yeah, barns or warehouses depends on what I'm going to give this. This isn't going to be rail served. We're not going to be picking up, uh, you know, carloads of apples here. We might somewhere else. There may be, you know, there may be a place where we load apples onto the, carloads of apples onto the train, or at least carloads of fruit, like generically speaking, fruit. Um, I need a highway bridge. This one, I guess. Is this? No, that's too nice. I mean, I definitely want to use this. I just don't have the like I'm not using the right industry set. Um, where houses are regular houses that turn into yeah, exactly. Yes. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Um, yeah, okay, let's just do this. Let's just call it good cuz I don't really care. It's a road bridge in the middle of nowhere. Um, why is this road up so high though? Look how high it is over the ground. Like, can I? Yeah, let's do that. And then this. Oh, that's why. I've sunken it. Okay, let's do that. That's probably why it was hovering. Um, and then let's. No. Grab the other one, please. Thank you. Connect. There we go. Although maybe I want to raise this end a little bit. It seems kind of low. Yeah, that's probably better. Can I scoot this way to make the span shorter? This is what they teach. This is what they teach to me in school. This is why I'm 6 figures in debt. Yeah, it's good enough. Actually, what I can do is I can then pull these back into the abutments, and that'll hide. I can pull the abutments back into the embankment, and it'll hide the little missing corners. Um, yeah, still not entirely sure what to do with these roads. They're all meeting down here. Um, I'll figure that out at some point. It's just about 10 o'clock. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning into this episode of Under Construction. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week. I don't feel like I'm going to be able to do anything in the next 4 minutes, so I figure we'll wrap up right here, right now. Um, and hopefully we'll have another nice full episode next Thursday. Next Thursday is the 24th. And I hope everyone has a happy Easter. Or 420. Whatever you're deciding to celebrate. This is the Admiral, signing off.